Someone recently left a comment in one of my videos asking for tips about how to deal with mean and passive-aggressive people. So this video is about how to stand up for yourself without making enemies. And make sure you stay until the end of the video where we'll talk about a simple thing you can do to make standing up for yourself way easier if this is an area you're having trouble with. To start, let's address why it's important to stand up for yourself. Sometimes, especially if you have a relatively passive personality, it might seem like causing a ruckus by standing up for yourself just isn't worth it. After all, wouldn't it be easier to just let it go? Well, sure, it can be. If you can genuinely let it go without it bothering you at all, then that may be the best option. Ignoring bad behavior can be an effective way of dealing with it, but sometimes ignoring that bad behavior comes at a cost. Sometimes you may be left stewing for hours or even days after someone said or did something to you. Sometimes it can be hard to look at yourself in the mirror because you simply don't respect yourself for letting people walk all over you. These are the clues you're looking for. If you can let it go without it bothering you later, then it's best to just ignore the bad behavior. But if you're still going to be thinking about it hours later when you're trying to get to sleep, it's best to take the plunge and do something about it in the moment. There may be a number of reasons why you're not inclined to stand up for yourself. Maybe you don't like the spotlight or were taught from a young age not to cause trouble. Maybe you fear you'll upset the other person or be rejected by the group you're with if you make a scene. Maybe you're terrified of the mere thought of standing up for yourself, and being a people pleaser comes so much easier to you. The first thing you can do to learn how to stand up for yourself is figure out why you're uncomfortable doing it. By describing the situation using words and logic rather than emotion, you can more easily grasp where the actual problem is coming from. Knowing the source of your discomfort can be helpful because then you can seek to disprove the beliefs that are holding you back. For example, if you believe your friends will be upset with you if you stand up for yourself, but they don't get upset when other people in your friends group stand up for themselves, then you know that belief isn't true. You may have learned from your parents that your needs aren't as important as the needs of other people. They may have ignored your needs or been so strict that you learned quickly not to stand up for yourself when they pushed you around. This training from a young age may have stuck with you, so now you let people walk all over you because standing up to a coworker or some jerk at the bar is just as terrifying as standing up to your parent when you were 4 years old. Knowing this about yourself can help you tackle it. As for the actual problem and learning how to stand up for yourself, the first thing you want to know is one of the most valuable pieces of advice you will ever get when dealing with humans. People treat you exactly the way you expect them to. I've been telling my clients for years that people treat you how you tell them to treat you, but usually this is through your actions, not your words. You can look at a crowd across the room and you can tell which people in that crowd are the ones that get walked on and which are the people that are respected simply by the way they carry themselves. The good news is you can carry yourself differently. You have a choice whether you want to look like an easy target or not. To start, the first thing people notice when looking at you from across the room is your posture. You want to take up space like you're important. You want your shoulders back and your head up to show that you're confident. The good news is you can practice this when no one's around. You want to train your body to act like you're a valuable part of society. Find a role model that has the kind of walk and posture that you wish you had and literally copy them. Walk around your house like you're trying to emulate their style. Then do it outside when taking a walk through your area. Then start doing it around people that you know. It may be difficult at first, but it's the first step in putting an end to people mistreating you. The second thing is eye contact. You will be absolutely amazed how much less abuse you take from people when you look at them in the eye with unwavering eye contact, especially when they're trying to mess with you. You can stop a lot of people without even saying a word by just giving them a look in the eye that says, "What are you doing?" This is one of the reasons eye contact is one of the very first skills I have my clients work on. I teach them to work on eye contact even before I teach them how to say hello to people. Eye contact is a skill you can work on from day one, and it has a powerful impact on how people treat you. If you want more information on how to practice eye contact effectively, even if you're too shy to look anyone in the eyes ever, there are exercises designed to help you master this skill found in the Social Skills Mastery online training program in the link below. Not only will the program teach you to hold eye contact better than 99% of the people you'll ever meet, there are 80 other exercises designed to help you master all areas of social interaction, so consider checking it out. Now that we've talked a bit about why you might hesitate to stand up for yourself and what physical behavior you can show that makes it less likely that people will pick on you, let's talk about your needs. What does standing up for yourself mean to you? Does it mean preventing people from insulting you because they think it's funny? Does it mean having your partner do more work around the house instead of leaving it all for you? Does it mean telling your boss you can't work on Saturday because you have other things to do? There are a variety of ways you might feel put upon, and knowing the end goal can help you design a plan to get there. Earlier, we talked about why you might not stand up for yourself. One of the reasons people commonly give is that they don't want to be selfish. Some people have been taught to always put other people's needs before their own. In some ways, that's a noble goal. I've known a number of people like that in my life, and they're truly wonderful to be around. But they're also really difficult to date. The problem isn't that they don't give enough. They give and then give some more. The problem is you always have to guess what they want. Because they think it's selfish to focus on their own needs, you always have to guess what they want in order to give back. The trouble comes because if their needs aren't met, they start to build resentment. But the people around them oftentimes don't even realize that they're unhappy or that they have unmet needs. The answer to this is to accept that it's okay for you to need and want things. Your needs matter, and the people that care about you, like your friends and family and romantic partners, want to take care of your needs to show that they care for you. Don't be afraid to speak up and mention your needs. It might sound scary, but it's actually one of the best ways to filter people out of your life. If you have a reasonable request to make of your partner, a good partner will not only want to hear it, but in most cases they'll want to fulfill it if they possibly can. Part of a good partnership is taking care of one another. Alternatively, when you make a reasonable request of your partner and they show no interest in meeting your needs, that's valuable information that you're not with a loving partner, and it might be time to wrap things up and move on. I'll go into this in much greater depth in an upcoming series on attachment theory, so make sure you're subscribed to the channel so you don't miss it. The situation of speaking up about your needs largely applies to people that are learning to stand up for themselves because people are taking advantage of their good nature to make them do things they don't want to do, but it also applies to people who are learning to stand up for themselves to stop people from mistreating and abusing them. If you have a friend, family member, or romantic partner who's always teasing you about some sensitive issue, you can tell them that it really bothers you when they do this and to please stop. It is totally reasonable to make this request, and you have every right to do so. A good friend, partner, or family member will respect your need and leave you alone. A bad one is probably someone you're better off minimizing contact with to the extent you can. Not all friends and lovers are worth keeping, and some family members are best avoided whenever possible. So now that you know why you're hesitant to stand up for yourself, how to have stronger body language, and you recognize it's okay to have needs, let's talk about some of the specific behaviors you can use. The first is to master non-reactivity. The Showing Your Strength portion of the Social Skills Mastery online training program, linked in the description below, has a video about this, along with one on eye contact, posture, and communicating status, plus exercises to help you master all four of these, so I won't go into too much detail here, but the main idea is that you want to learn to respond to slights as if they don't affect you at all. The reason people insult you is to get a rise out of you. If you ignore their insults in a confident way or otherwise appear ineffective, they'll usually give up. The two simplest methods are to either perfect your look that says, "People don't talk to me like that," or to just agree with whatever they said. The look is very powerful, as it puts them in their place without you ever saying a word, and then you can go right back to the conversation as if the comment was never made. The agreeing with the comment works much the same way. If the purpose of the comment was to upset you or cause offense, and it clearly doesn't work, then the comment loses its power. For example, if you're telling a story and someone shouts out, "That's because you're a thief," with the intent of hurting you and shocking the audience, you can simply say, "Oh yeah, I'm the best thief," and then go right back to your story as if the comment never happened. Both of these techniques are very powerful and extremely disarming. Another powerful technique is to use positive and negative reinforcement to your advantage. In a recent video I made on the body language of the feet and torso, I talk about how people turn their torso toward people they like and away from people they dislike. You can use this as a powerful way to shun bad behavior and promote good behavior. For example, if one of your friends says to you, "That outfit looks terrible on you," and another friend immediately says, "I don't know, I thought it looked pretty good," you can turn your body away from the friend that said the insult and toward the one that said the good behavior and say, "Thanks, I really appreciate that." Be supportive and encouraging of any behavior you like to see while ignoring any behavior you want less of. If there is no good behavior, if everybody's just being mean to you, then you want to make the situation as awkward as possible. You will look at them with that piercing eye contact I mentioned earlier, with a neutral expression on your face that says, "What do you think you're doing?" And that is all you will do. You won't react beyond that. You won't say a word. You will make the most painfully awkward silence you possibly can so that everyone that is watching is uncomfortable. I cannot express how powerful this is. Not only will the person that said the rude comment be uncomfortable, but so will all the people who are watching as well. This means that the rude person is less likely to make such a comment in the future, and all the other people will try and stop them from making rude comments as well. Contrast this to him making fun of you, you reacting, and everyone laughing at you. In this scenario, everyone enjoyed the response except for you, and so everyone wants more interactions like that. In the scenario where you just look at him and create an awkward silence, you make it so that the entire audience doesn't have fun when someone insults you. This means your other friends will try and prevent him from insulting you in the future. You went from having all your friends on the rude person's side to having all your friends on your side. Sometimes this will result in your friends sticking up for you, but even if they're not the kind of people to do that, they will be more likely to break the awkward silence with a positive comment that causes you to react pleasantly. You're turning the tables so that instead of having fun at your expense, they're learning that the best way for them to have a good time is to do things that also make you have a good time. This is an amazing technique and definitely worth mastering. You want the entire world to recognize that the world is a more fun and enjoyable place when your needs are met and people are treating you well, and a noticeably more uncomfortable place when people are mistreating you. You would be amazed at how easily you can direct people's behaviors by simply making them feel good for treating you well and feel awkward for treating you poorly. I could go on about this topic for hours, but the video is already getting a little long, so I'll just say this. If you really want to work on this area of your life, it's worth checking out the Social Skills Mastery online training program. It will change your life in ways you've never imagined. But before we wrap up, I mentioned at the beginning of a video a simple trick you can do to make this entire process of standing up for yourself easier. That trick is to practice. What I mean is to play out scenarios in your head and on paper. Write down exactly what you'll say, how they'll respond, and what you'll do in response to the various ways they might react. Chances are you've thought about this before, so this will come naturally to many of you. But the difference is this time, you will write down the various ways you might react to train yourself to think logically rather than emotionally. The idea is simple. First I say X. Then if they say Y, I say Z. If they say A, I say B. If they say C, I say D. You have everything laid out. You even have a backup plan. Like, if they say something and I don't know how to respond, I look the rude person in the eyes with a blank expression that says, I see what you're doing and it's time for you to stop. Then I turn to a different person and ignore the rude person. The better prepared you are, the easier it'll be to stick to the plan and avoid getting emotional in the moment. Remember, a lot of the behaviors, like looking people in the eye or turning away from behavior you don't like, are universal and you can use them in any situation, even when they say something that you were completely unprepared for. If you found this video helpful, make sure you give it a like and leave a comment telling where you'll use this information in the future or a time in the past that you wish you'd done something like this. I really enjoy reading your comments, so share some stories with me. Definitely take the time to practice the advice mentioned in this video. You will be amazed at what you can accomplish and how differently people will treat you. That said, I hope you've enjoyed this video and I'll have more great content coming your way soon.